All right, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. I am Gary Witherspoon, Deputy Project Director for the Purple Line and Public Outreach. On behalf of Governor Wes Moore, Acting Transportation Secretary Paul Wiedefeld, and Maryland Transit Administration Administrator Holly Arnold, welcome to the 10th Community Advisory Committee meeting for the University Boulevard area. As a courtesy, we are continuing to host these meetings online for the time being. Please bear with us. As with any virtual presentation, we cannot guarantee there will be no technical glitches. However, we will do our best to make the presentation run smoothly. And not to worry, this evening's presentation is being recorded. So in a few days, you will be able to find this presentation posted on our website, purplelinemd.com. Please mute your microphones until after the presentation. For those who would like a live translation, the Teams format can translate this evening's comments into a number of languages, including Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, French, and Portuguese, also many others. Instructions for seeing live translations are being placed in the chat area of this meeting. Our Prince George's liaison, Genesis Baez, will now relay that information in Spanish. Genesis.
Buenas tardes. Para aquellos que desean una traducción en vivo, el formato del Teams puede traducir los comentarios de esta noche a varios idiomas, incluyendo español, árabe, chino, francés, portugués y muchos más. Las introducciones para ver las traducciones en vivo se están colocando en el área del chat de esta reunión. Nuestro enlace de esto soy yo. Gary, back to you.
Gracias. Tonight, you'll receive a project update from Matt Pollock and Ray Biggs II, the Executive Director and Project Director in the Office of Transit Development and Delivery, which oversees the project for the MDOT-MTA. Also, at tonight's meeting are representatives of the concessionaire, Purple Line Transit Partners, including PLTP CEO Duran Basso, and Maryland Transit Solutions Construction Manager Iago Pernas, and our old friend Carla Julian, the MTS Stakeholder Manager. Matt and Ray will fill you in on what is happening on the state side of the project. Then they will turn the presentation over to MTS, which will provide a construction update and plan moving forward. Finally, we'll give you reminders about things to look out for during construction. And we'll tell you where to submit questions beyond those that will be addressed tonight. Again, you will be able to find the presentation later on our website, purplelinemd.com, along with responses to questions we could either not answer or could not get to tonight. We ask that you stay muted and hold your questions until after the presentation. Then we will open the meeting to questions from CAT members and elected officials. We'll invite you to raise your hand by clicking on the hand image atop your screen, and you'll be acknowledged. You can also submit questions via the chat option atop the page. Non-CAT members who are viewing the meeting or calling in and have questions can ask them using the chat function on your screen. Just tap on the icon, type in your question, and we will address your question if we have time. If your question is not addressed tonight, don't worry. All questions will be addressed later in a question and response posting on the project website. Similar questions will be combined, so you may not see your question posted verbatim. Thank you for joining us. Here's Matt Pollock.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. Let me first talk a little bit about our community advisory teams. Our community advisory teams, which we refer to as CATs, are an important part of the Purple Line project. This first bullet is highlighting the purpose of our CATs meetings, which are open to the public and provide an opportunity for the Purple Line team, that's us, to communicate and interact directly with you, our stakeholders. Stakeholders that are designated as CAT members are further encouraged to proactively share Purple Line information with their associated organization and the overall community. We also look to our CAT members to gather feedback from their stakeholders and engage directly back with our Purple Line outreach team as questions or concerns arise. All right, well, let's move on to the organization slide. All right, here is the Purple Line project organizational structure that has been in place since April of last year. Our new design build contractor, Maryland Transit Solutions, is shown on the left side of the slide. The other parties shown here have remained in place on this public-private partnership, including our concessionaire, Purple Line Transit Partners, our PLTP, who again is being represented tonight by Doran Basso, PLTP's chief executive. There's also our engineer of record, Atkins, our car builder, CAF, our operator, Purple Line Transit Operators, which consists of two companies, Alternate Concepts, ACI, and CAF as well. Well, let's go to the next slide and take a look at the revised project schedule. The new design build contract was executed in April. During the spring, MTS engaged in its mobilization efforts, signing subcontracts, planning field activities, and performing due diligence inspections in the field. MTS construction activities ramped up over the summer, and active Purple Line construction can be seen across the entire alignment, as I'm sure most of you are aware. With all the work plowing ahead, we look forward to our light rail vehicles to start arriving at the new Glen Ridge Operations and Maintenance Facility off of Veterans Parkway, come to that facility later this year. The test track area, which is centered around the Glen Ridge Operations and Maintenance Facility, is scheduled for completion in the summer of 2024, which will then kick off a period of intensive local testing, integrated testing, and initial operator training while construction continues elsewhere along the alignment. In winter 2025, construction across the entire alignment will have progressed enough to allow for system-wide testing, full operational training, and the commissioning activities necessary to prove out a safe and ready light rail line. Passenger service is scheduled to begin in the fall of 2026. Now, as the Washington Post recently and correctly reported, our concessionaire's technical advisor has identified project challenges that they believe represent a potential 7-month slip in the overall schedule. Purple Line is a large, complex project being constructed in a densely populated urban area. Most of these complex projects encounter difficult and sometimes unforeseen challenges on a regular basis. And as these challenges arise, our primary duty is to seek out what I would call implementable paths forward that allow us to mitigate those potential impacts. For our current set of challenges, MTA, PLTP, and MTS formed a schedule mitigation tiger team in October, and we've been working closely together, focusing on work sequences, alternative plans, and other options for working around the challenges that are threatening to impact the project schedule. At this time, there has not been a change to the contractual date for passenger service. Once we've gotten better information through our Tiger team and agreed upon and implemented a revised path forward, then we're going to go back and evaluate the revised schedule to determine what the resultant project delay will be, if any. With that, I will turn the microphone over now to my project director, Ray Biggs. Some of you may not have met Ray yet, and I'm pleased to have Ray on the team. As project director, Ray is the state's representative responsible for the day-to-day design and construction activities on the Purple Line. Ray?
Thank you, Matt. As Gary and Matt mentioned, for this evening, we will focus on construction along University Boulevard between the Tacoma-Langley and Adelphi Road, UMGC, UMD stations, which includes Riggs Road. The project will enhance pedestrian safety around each station with ADA-compliant crosswalks and upgraded signals to include pedestrian countdowns, enabling pedestrians to safely cross University Boulevard. Each of our stations will feature unique art installations, benches, trash bins, and message boards providing train arrival and departure information. Over the next few slides, we will show you renderings and designs for each station, as you can see here. In this segment, you will see a locator map to the left, identifying where the station will be located on University Boulevard. On the right side, this is an engineering plan that highlights design features about the station, including the lighting, shelters, catenary pole location, and fencing surrounding the station. Moving on to the Tacoma-Langley station, is across from Tacoma-Langley Transit Center, just west of New Hampshire Avenue. And this rendering here, as you can see, shows you where that transit center is. And this station allows riders to have easy access to Transit Hub, connecting riders to local and regional bus services or shopping at the diverse options of shops and restaurants in the area. Moving on to the next slide. So each of these three stations will be center platforms, meaning our alignment runs down the center of University Boulevard. Because of this, you will hear about our plans to widen the roadway to make room for the light rail and center lanes in our upcoming work. This slide features the details for Tacoma-Langley Station. This rendering that you see here, we can go back to the previous slide, is what a center platform station will look like. That will be typical along the alignment. You will notice the station shelter is in the middle with train tracks on either side of the shelter, while the area around the rendering shows grass. The University Boulevard will be the roadway with sidewalks on either side of the station and not the grass area on the right side of the rendering. Next slide. That brings us to the Ridge Road station, which is just west of Ridge Road on University Boulevard, with plenty of shopping opportunities and communities off University Boulevard. Let's go to the next slide. The Adelphi Road UMGC UMD station is one of the 5 stations University of Maryland faculty students and students will be able to ride for free. This station is located at the western point of Campus Drive, adjacent to Adelphi Road. Riders will be able to walk to residential communities, the University of Maryland Global Campus, or continue to University of Maryland from this stop. Now we'll turn it over to Yago Pernas, the construction manager for this area.
Thank you, Ray. Good evening, everyone. My name is Iago Pernas. I'm the construction manager for University Boulevard, and I'm going to give you an update about the main areas we're working at, okay? Before starting with that, in the screen, you can see the project accomplishments we did in the last months, and in the next slide, okay, we are gonna talk specifically about the update of the construction itself, okay? So we are dividing the University Boulevard in 3 areas, okay? The first area is gonna be the area between Piney Branch Road and New Hampshire Avenue. In this area, we completed the relocation of the gas and the electrical utilities. We are also working on the relocation of the water lines, the sewer lines, and the telecommunications. And we started the installation of the new storm drain system. For the next months, we are gonna continue working on the storm drain system. Right after, we are gonna continue with the roadway widening, including the reconstruction of the curb and the existing sidewalk. In the next area, the area between New Hampshire and Riggs Road, we also completed the relocation of the gas and the electrical utilities. We are also working on the relocation of the water, sewer, and telecommunication lines. And we have been able also to start in this complicated area, the installation of the new storm drain system. In the next months, we are gonna continue laying new pipe, setting new drainage structure, and as soon as we are done in every single area with the drainage, we are gonna continue with the widening, removing the existing curb, removing the existing sidewalk, and building the new ones. Important in this area, we are gonna be moving the telecommunication lines from the existing poles to the new poles. After having these lines relocated, we are gonna be able to remove the old poles, and this is gonna allow us to complete the roadway widening. In the last area, the area between Riggs Road and Adelphi Road, we completed the relocation of the gas and the electrical utilities, also working on the water, sewer, and telecommunications utilities, and also actively installing the new storm drain system. In all these three areas, we have every day, as an average, 5 different crews working on drainage. And as a reference, as of now, we did install more than 3,000 linear feet of new drainage in the University Boulevard. This means more than 12% of the drainage we have to install over there. In the next 6 months, we are gonna continue working hard on that drainage and working in the new sidewalk and the new curb. In this particular area, we are focused on the service road between 23rd and West Park Drive. We are almost completed there. And in few weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks, no more than that, we are gonna be completing that area, and we are gonna be impacting temporarily for 1 or 2 nights the intersection between West Park Drive and University Boulevard. Obviously, we are gonna communicate this in advance, and we are gonna make the community aware about any potential detour we need to implement to perform our works. Continuing with the next slide, and in the same area, we would like to give you an update about the Northwest Branch Bridge. Last November, we have been able to implement a long-term traffic shift here. This is allowing us to push the traffic to the north and start the demolition of the existing bridge in the south. This demolition is ongoing. We are planning to complete this demolition in the next few weeks, and we are gonna be able to start the construction of the new bridge, including the new foundations, the new abutments, the new columns, and the new deck itself. As soon as the new bridge is completed, we are gonna be able to reopen the traffic in the south, having 2 lanes in the north, having another 2 lanes in the south, and letting us work in the median for the train itself. And in this last slide, I'm going to talk about the service road impacts. We are dividing the service roads in 2 main groups. The first one is the service roads where we have temporary parking restrictions. You can see these areas highlighted in yellow, and we are talking specifically about the area between 23rd Avenue and West Park Drive, as we are working right now, and the other area is between Carroll Avenue and New Hampshire Avenue in the north side. As soon as we complete the works in this area, we are gonna remove all the restrictions and we can recover all the parking spots over there. However, in the second group, we have two service roads where the parking spots are gonna be eliminated permanently. We are talking about New Hampshire Avenue to 15th Avenue in the north side, and from Carroll Avenue to New Hampshire Avenue in the south side. So in these areas, as soon as we are completing the drainage works, we are gonna be focused on the widening, including the permanent removal of the parking spots. So that's everything from my side. I will turn it over to Carla, our head of outreach.
Hello, everyone. Just to touch base on our community outreach and our business outreach, we continue to meet with the community and stakeholders, and we are regularly meeting with impacted businesses. We do a project newsletter. I think the newest edition was placed online this morning.
Good evening. This is Joe Vallecina reporting from Delphi, Maryland, calling in.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Do you mind to put your microphone on mute? Thank you. And I did see that somebody asked how you're going to receive construction notifications about road closures. Through our website, you are able to log on and subscribe to those, and you can get those via text or email, or you can just log on to the website and look at those if you don't want anything coming to your phone. So we can share that link with you. It will be at the end of the presentation. So if you don't currently receive those, we highly recommend you sign up for those, because that's how you're going to get the proactive notices about what road closures, lane closures, night and weekend work is upcoming for the project. And obviously we host community advisory teams as we are doing right now. Next slide, please. As always, safety is our #1 goal, and we encourage you to be alert as you are traveling through the project alignment as a pedestrian or in your vehicle. I've noticed that there have been some questions about how we're working with pedestrian safety, crosswalks, and all of those types of things. I think we'll be able to answer those questions a little bit more clearly at the end or in some of our follow-up to give you specific detail on where those are going to be. We do understand how important that is, especially in this area. So that is a focus of ours. We have been working with elected officials and community on that. So we will we'll respond further about that as well. But that is definitely of high importance to our team. Back to maintenance of traffic, just as you're traversing the project site and going through work zones, please be alert. Don't be on your cell phone. Cones, barrels, and sometimes metal plates where we're having to do excavation will be there. If you see anything that looks off, please let us know and we'll immediately address that. We are working to keep pedestrian access safe and open on either the north or south side, as we do have to shut sidewalks. Those types of detours will be announced in our notifications as well. So definitely sign up for those. So that's kind of it in a nutshell for maintenance of traffic. So I'll turn it back over to Gary, and thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Again, you can register for construction updates at purplelinemd.com. As Carla said, you can reach us through our outreach email address, outreach@purplelinemd.com, or you can call us. We have both English and Latino hotlines. They're monitored around the clock, so you can call any time of day and someone will respond. Maybe not right away, but we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. That concludes our presentation. I think we had some questions come in before tonight, so I'm going to have Matt address those.
Right, that means I put on my microphone again. Sorry about that. So I show that we had two questions come in ahead of the presentation. The first question was, why did the cost of the project increase? Well, certainly the Purple Line revised project cost was discussed pretty heavily during meetings and in the media about a year ago when we went to the Board of Public Works to get approval for the revised P3 agreement. But obviously that was a year ago, so I'm glad for the question because it's really worth repeating here. Essentially, you know, we're in a post-pandemic marketplace. We've had several major factors that have influenced our revised costs. That includes supply chain issues, rising material costs. We have severe labor shortages across the industry, certainly inflation, and our insurance costs have increased, all of which carry their own costs while also affecting risk, and then risk assessments in turn affect the prices that we receive in bids. You know, government agencies, local jurisdictions, and private firms across the nation are all experiencing these significant increases on their major projects due to these and other related factors. The other question that came up is, who is paying for the project cost increase? Which is obviously a very good question. Our concessionaire, PLTP, is financing the additional project costs through a combination of debt and equity. PLTP, our concessionaire, in turn, will then be repaid through increased availability payments made by the state during the 30-year operations and maintenance period. So it is the state paying for the project cost increase. Those were the only questions that I had ahead of time, Ray. So I'll pass it back to you.
Okay.
I'm Gary.
We're now gonna open the floor back to CAT members and elected officials. If you have any questions and you're a CAT member or an elected official, please raise your hand so you can be acknowledged. Okay, we got a question from Denny Tavares's office. Unmute yourself and fire away, please.
Hi, I'm the legislative aide for Delegate Severus. Unfortunately, Delegate Severus is unable to come today as she is sick, but this is an important issue to her, and she has sent a number of questions that she would like to have answered, whether today or via email. I put them all in the chat, but just to reiterate them, the first one is, how are you planning to close the $4 million deficit gap? The second one is, per the paper, there appears to be an additional unacceptable delays. What initiative structures exist in the current contract to encourage folks to be done early? The third is, we are continuously hearing about the utility line movement. How many utility lines have been moved already in the last 8 years, and what percentage needs to be done still? And is there a PAL plan in place with the current contracts?
Okay. I am happy to try and answer them as well as I can live, but certainly if we have any additional information, we will follow up in the written responses going forward. I wrote as fast as I could. I think the first question had to do with what was being referred to as a deficit gap. a deficit gap would imply that we don't have the budget to continue the project. We do have the budget. The state has committed to paying for this out of the Transportation Trust Fund, and so the project will be paid by the Transportation Trust Fund. Next question is, it appears that there are unacceptable delays. We certainly appreciate your input on that. I think no one would disagree that we're disappointed with the delays. You know, for those of us who want to finish the project, I categorize it as an acceptable delay because we still want to finish the project. The project still has great benefits to the state of Maryland and to all of the communities that we're reaching. So we're going to do our best to try and minimize delays going forward. Next question appeared to be about the number of utility lines. We have relocated approximately 180 utility lines since construction has started. That represents about 2/3 of the utility lines that need to be relocated across the entire two-county alignment. So there is still about 1/3 of the utility relocation packages that still need to be completed. The next question had to do with the PLA, the project labor agreement. And the answer is yes, there is a project labor agreement. And for those who aren't familiar with the project labor agreement, that's an agreement between a contract owner and union craft labor. There is a project labor agreement in place with the carpenters union. I think that's the main one that we have in place. I'm going to have to defer and let us get you an answer in writing on that, but that labor agreement is in place. And I'm forgetting the name of the LUNA. LUNA is the union. That's the labor's union. So that was what I was missing. It's the labor's union that we have the project labor agreement in place with as well. And so we are continuing under those agreements. I believe that was the 4 questions. So Gary, I'll pass it back to you.
Okay, next we have a hand raised by Jason Small. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jason Small. I'm the Ward 6 representative. I'm duly elected. I won't necessarily concern myself about whether or not there are efficacy issues with not going first here, given where we are. However, I would like to ask some more direct or pointed questions, or make a more pointed accusation that I feel needs to be responded to directly. And that is this. It is profoundly ironic that in a place where there has been institutional neglect concerning the actual environment due to the realities of corridor traffic, and perhaps that is state highways burden, and there has been an institutional gap in public transportation in this area and the metro itself, given the fact that the only real assessments that anyone makes about why the metro didn't exist here in the first place have to do with race and race-related items due to the overall construction of the population of Langley Park. If these things are institutionally true, when you begin to say things about how delays are really indications of positives because of the consistent desire to complete the project, and you were essentially describing a situation where a limited number of benefits to the actual people who live there were then compounded by a lack of concern at whatever institutional levels to get from point A to point B. And then the response is, well, we're still trying. I do not see how the give and take of the community process that you are alleging to be undertaking here indicates in any way the depth of the issues, either institutionally or with regard to the specificity of this project. Whether we are talking about potholes in the context of heavy construction equipment being moved, or barriers and constructions that presuppose parking of things that aren't moved, or the overall refuse in the area. The renderings associated with what you envision in this area do not comport with the previous reality of the lived experience. Now, because there are different sorts of socioeconomic actors here, and there aren't just people who are presupposed to be economically depressed, whether that be by the county or the other county or the jurisdiction that I'm in or the state, it is really difficult to sit through these things as either elected representative or person who lives in this neighborhood and not be told a more effective story about where these delays are, not be told a more effective manner of communicating with the construction management, not be told a more effective story about the relationship between State Highway and your building, given the fact that any given change you have to make along the way is directly related to the issues related to the control of the actual property that you were building on. And so when I have conversations with my constituents about the difficulty of going down Carroll Avenue to University Avenue, that is a state highway consideration. When I have conversations with my residents about the odd changes that seem to happen from Riggs Road to Piney Branch and the apathy associated with that area, I don't know what to tell them, and I don't know who to ask them to talk to. If you were telling me that direct action is the only thing that is left to a duly elected representative, I can promise you that I can gin up enough frustration with willing parties to make this more difficult politically. Because, like you, Mr. Pollack, I would like to see it completed. So if you could address the level of frustration that would be associated not only with the general boondoggle of the project in the jargony term, but the actual lived experience of the people who are dealing with this, rather than wherever it is possible that you go home, I would appreciate it, particularly since if I find out that it's Bethesda, where you can gently drop a bridge in the middle of the night without incident with high press availability, I'll be annoyed. So I will stop now.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, you know, to be frank, it's good to get this input. You know, certainly thank you for your commitment to public service. You know, I mean, that is why we have elected officials, to collect these concerns and convey them to us. As I mentioned,
I'm also a person who is a practitioner in this area. So I would also request that you reduce the number of platitudinous words in your response and communicate with me directly as someone who actually has the right and ability to be able to call BS because I'm elected and no one can fire me.
well, again, I'm going to say, I appreciate this input. I'm not exactly sure what you're accusing me of, and I apologize for not necessarily understanding everything that you're asking for. But I will tell you that on behalf of the state, what we are trying to do is try to have a positive impact on every community that we touch. And as we, learn of some of the difficulties associated with the project, we need to take this information in. We need to meet with the constituents, and we need to have these conversations. So I appreciate you bringing this to us. It sounds like we do need to have some additional conversations, and we're happy to reach out to your office if you want.
Well, here's the thing. I
some
don't
other
have an
method.
office because I'm an elected official and I'm a municipal representative. And so on the totem pole, even in this event, you kind of indicated where we are. But because we live in a community that is self-selecting for people who like policy, there are a lot of us here. And as such, I do think that it is important to understand that you're not going to be able to continue to say these things about your eagerness to provide positive impacts to the people who are currently here if the length of time whereby the project occurs ensures that people who live here will be priced out. And then when you turn your attentions to the built environment, the consequences will be gentrification rather than opportunity or economic development. All three have policy definitions and implications, and I am unclear that any of them are being considered. And when none of them are considered, the first one happens: gentrification. So explain to me how you guys are going to improve the quality of life for the people who were here during the project as well, since there has been no concern.
Well, again, it's a very long introduction there. I can't say that I agree with everything you say, council member, but I hear you. You're saying that people are adversely impacted. You are concerned about dislocation and gentrification. That is something that is bigger than the purple line. That's going to involve the county and the local municipalities, and there is a lot of coordination that we're going to need to work through.
Of capitalist implications, with whereby as you continue to allow people to be frustrated and have their economic incentives be, let's get out of here, the consequences are specific. And so you cannot tell me that there is no policy consideration here. And if you are telling me that, then I need you to address where the emphasis on quality of life is. And if you can't address it in this room and feel that you have been unduly excoriated, I apologize to you directly. But I would like to continue this conversation in a way that would develop a conclusion that the residents of Ward 6, perhaps the residents in Ms. Taveras' district or her previous district would feel better about. And you're not going to be able to say that due to the presuppositions of alienation within the population of Hispanic speaking or non-English speaking peoples, that you can get by with what you have done.
Okay, Jason, let's take this offline and set up a separate meeting so that we can continue with the questions from others in the meeting?
That sounds great.
Okay, thank you. And we will set something up so that we can get together. Okay. Other questions? Let's see. Okay, Paula, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, thank you. My name is Paula Santinez. I'm a resident of Tacoma Park, Ward 6. I live near University Avenue and Carroll Avenue. You know, I understand this project is huge. There's a lot of things happening. But the residents around here, I mean, we've just had to deal with this construction now for you know, 3-4 years, and you're telling us we have to, you know, there's going to be another 3 or 4. We're just sick and tired of the potholes, the disruption, the traffic, the dust, the inability to walk places. I mean, our community has been basically ripped, you know, it's been ripped. And what I understand, I'm an engineer, so I understand that, you know, it takes a certain amount of work. Things have to be done in a certain way. You guys have to relocate the utilities. You have to put in new sewers. I understand all that from a technical perspective, and I'm encouraged to hear today that some progress has been made on that end. So that's good news for me. But I would like to know if there's any. We just need you guys to fix the roads. Just fix the damn roads. Just repave them. Give us some way that we can safely get from point A to point B. I'm privileged. I get to drive around, so major delays for me. Whatever, my kids are late for school, and maybe I'm late for work. But you know what? I'm not getting fired. But people around here in this community that have to take public transit, that are delayed, you know, a lot of the people in this community will lose their jobs if they're late for work. So we just need you guys to please help the community just get some sense back to normalcy, because living with this hell has just been very, very taxing on all of us. And when all we hear is that it's not going to be fixed till 2026, you know, it just gives you no hope, just gives you despair.
Well, you know, I wish I had a quick fix answer for you, Pauline. I apologize that I don't. You know, we don't expect for you all to be putting up with potholes. Certainly, if we can be made aware of what you're finding, we want to go out and put patches in there, and where we can put permanent fixes, we want to put permanent fixes. Unfortunately, we can't put a permanent fix in a location that has yet to had a utility relocation, because the tear up is going to follow behind it. But we agree that the idea of a road is that it should be travelable by automobiles. So you know, I would urge you to continue contacting us on areas of concern, whether they are show up overnight or it's just something you've seen it for the first time. If you can identify it before we're aware of it, please let us know about that. We are trying to progress this project as quickly as we can. We have no intentions or frankly any incentive not to complete this project as quick as possible. You know, I wish I could promise you that the delays never would have happened. You know, I can't, you know, go there. But we are progressing the project and really trying to continue to push the project forward at all times.
And I'll add that we do have an aggressive repaving program. We don't get to some spots as fast as the public would like, but we are trying. Please, when you see something, let us know. You can send us an email. You can call the hotline. You can send us a picture so we know exactly where you're talking about, so we can get out there as quickly as possible. Our next question will come from Dawn Reeves.
Hi, sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. I'm sorry, Gary, I was literally laughing out loud at your last comment about rapid repaving. I invite you to drive on University between Franklin and just on the other side of Riggs Road and take a look. There are ginormous potholes along that entire route. I have had to replace tires. I've had to patch tires because there's been nails in my tire. I had to get new shocks and new struts on my car. And I believe it is 95% because I have no choice but to drive on University Boulevard. And I just wanted to echo what Paula said. If there's any fixes that you guys can make now that will make the road smoother while this project is, you know, stalled, or do it in pieces where you're not moving utilities, we would appreciate it greatly. I'm a neighbor of Paula's. I live right off of Carroll on Glenside Drive, which another thing is our street is a cut through for people that want to avoid University Boulevard. They zoom through our neighborhood, but it's not a state road. That's not your problem. But anyway, I would greatly appreciate any fixes that you could make. And just one other point I wanted to make is there is you lose a lane on University if you're heading towards Piney Branch. Right before Piney Branch, right at the light, the barricades appear right at the light, and it just, people don't know it, and it backs up traffic for a mile or a mile and a half at rush hour. And then when you cross over Piney Branch, though, there's lanes that are closed, there's construction barrels, but there's nothing going on there. There's no work whatsoever. It's been like that for 2 years or something like that. And I would think that if there's not work there going on now, that you guys could open that lane and move the barrels. I mean, that would be a pretty simple fix. And I thank you for having this meeting, and that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Dawn. A quick question to make sure I'm taking this down correctly. When you talk about University approaching Piney Branch, I'm envisioning that you're talking about you're heading east on University.
Yes, correct. Away from the beltway.
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Let us take a look at that, and we'll get you some information in our response and what we find out.
Okay. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Okay, next question from Vic. Unmute yourself, Vic.
Thank you, Gary. Vic Weisberg with Prince George's County Public Works and Transportation. I just wanted to sort of amplify what you're hearing from the community, the importance of really being on top of things like repaving, pedestrian safety in general. And I would really like to encourage emphasizing the segments that we know that there is a safety problem first. I've said it before, but University Boulevard, especially from West Park, essentially to the transit center, is the #1 segment in the state for pedestrian fatalities. And second in the county, in Prince George's County, is Kenilworth Avenue. Those segments, and 410 isn't too far behind. So really emphasizing on making sure that those segments are as safe as possible. We, of course, want to encourage making sure that the project is finished no later than 2026. And I want to finish with a little bit of good news. Prince George's County yesterday was notified that we are receiving a Safe Streets for All grant, which means that we will be advancing 7 safety projects around the county, 4 of which are in the Purple Line corridor. So we will be improving the internal network in Langley Park, connecting to both Riggs Road and University Boulevard. We will be improving the road network and Adelphi Road and Cool Spring Road in the Adelphi Cool Spring neighborhood. And this is for county roads. So we're making the roads that connect to the Purple Line and the state roads a lot safer, but we need safety on the state roads, which is where the numbers are unfortunately the highest. And then we are also improving from the Adelphi station, Adelphi Road and Bellcrest Road, so that there will be a continuous bicycle connection between the Purple Line station and the Green Line at Hyattsville Crossing. So we're really tickled that we have that grant, but we have some serious issues that we need to tackle. But these should dovetail nicely with the Purple Line, and we just can't emphasize the importance of safety enough. Thanks.
Vic, as always, we appreciate your help and your cooperation and your partnership. So congratulations on those 7 grants, or the grant that allows you to advance the 7 projects. I think that's really nice. You mentioned safety. I think the question that hasn't come up today, certainly is about pedestrian access as well as, vehicular access. And really, I just want to make sure that the same message is out there. There should be a sidewalk open along every corridor. There should never be a situation where both sides of the road are missing sidewalk. Pedestrian access should be being maintained, not only by Purple Line, but by any work that's happening along this corridor. Mm-hmm. So if you do see anything that appears to be affecting pedestrian or ADA accessibility, again, please reach out to us if we haven't noticed it, so that we have an opportunity to take care of it.
Yeah, no,
that wasn't your question,
well
but
said.
I just wanted to toss that. Yeah.
And we look to the individuals on this meeting to be essentially the ambassadors, and to let let those in a position to make improvements know as soon as they see something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, Vic. We got a question from phone number 301-366-7066. Go ahead.
Good evening. This is Joe Robinson calling in.
Hey, Joel.
Yes, I hope I didn't interrupt or get out of the line. I had a problem with the system. When I keep on unmuting it. Oh, there it goes.
We can hear you, Joel. Go ahead. What's your question?
I had a issue with the phone. It kept on keeping moving. And I had a hand mic. I don't know if you saw it. Well, anyhow, I'm glad it's going to happen whenever it does happen. I had some questions, but they haven't had the answers for them yet. On the fair, when the fair gets announced, I can just add it to my medical benefits, so I don't have to pay the fair, because my job, the DOD, can pay for it because they have the medical benefits. So I don't know if they have the answers to the question for the fairs yet. Hello?
Yeah, Joel, I can answer that. We do not have our fair pricing structure in place yet. We are trying to set up from a mechanical or technical standpoint to make sure that we can accept the existing fare cards that are being used both at Washington Metro and up across the Baltimore or Baltimore, Maryland state transit system. However, we haven't yet been able to determine what the fare is going to be. I think what we're going to find is that the fare structure is more in line with Maryland. I don't know that we would introduce like a time and distance type of fare system like they have at the Washington Metro, but that will be coming forward as we get closer and we start testing the vehicles and looking to get into passenger service.
And also, I can still use my smart trip card on the system.
That is the intent. That if you have money or passes on your smart trip card, that should be a way to purchase a fare or to get a fare or get onto the Purple Line system. That is correct.
Okay, it would be like the Purple Line would be accepting the smart trip card, right?
Silver Line,
You're going to have
absolutely.
those boxes. Are they going to have the boxes like the fare boxes, like the Flash?
I do not know. Joel, are you talking about Silver Line as in the system going out to Dulles Airport? Or are you talking about something different?
The Purple Line.
Oh, Purple Line. I'm sorry.
Line.
I'm sorry. Yes, we're going to
hold
have
on. I got
fare equipment.
Fare
equipment similar to. I guess it's probably going to look closer to what you'd see when you enter a parking garage. The pay stations that you see at parking garages where you pay, you put the money in, the ticket can come out. There'll also be a smart trip button on there so that it can read your smart trip card.
Okay. I know the Baltimore has it similar to that smart trip card.
Yeah, I apologize.
Charm card. The charm card.
Yes, hopefully our responsibility is to charm card and smart trip card. So with both systems.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you,
Thanks
Joel.
for answering my question.
All right, thank you, Joel. We have a question about when the next community meeting will happen. Generally, we try to have community advisory team meetings twice a year. A lot of that depends on construction and other circumstances. So hopefully we'll have another one later this year. Stand by, and Matt is very open to coming to your community and seeing you face to face. So if you'd like Matt to come out, please send us an invite, and we'll check his schedule and see when he's available. Okay, I'm looking through the chat. In the meantime, if there are other questions, please raise your hand. Okay, go ahead, Jason.
Thanks, Gary. I wanted to indicate in particular that Gary is the first recipient of this particular line of assertion regarding institutional neglect and these actors. And so I guess what I would say is that I need to understand how there is such a large disconnect between what the residents, or at least the people who talked, were residents in Ward 6, and what you were actually saying about what your commitments are to the actual building project and its continual maintenance. Because it just like, and I know it's possible that you may just, like as far as I know, you could just be the person who was assigned to have to do the PowerPoint today. So where is the actual structure whereby the lack of communication or lack of decision making is occurring? And does it have anything to do directly with the project manager that you indicated was the building person for this area? And I ask this because the large sewer tubes are maybe a half a mile from my actual home. So I don't understand how it could be that no one would know what the condition of the roads are in this specific area that just happens to be in the nexus of the crossroads between jurisdictions. Like, to me, it would seem like as a state actor, if you know that there are a couple of different jurisdictions, that, you know, there would at least be some state emphasis on the area. Because just like in policing, the fact that there is a nexus means nobody necessarily pays attention. And so if these are principles of public policy, I don't understand. I need someone to help me understand these things. And if it's not you, I would like for it to actually be the state highway actor, the Prince George's County actor, our public works department, the Montgomery County person, and you guys, because it doesn't make any sense that this would be the forum where you were suddenly informed of these things. As I told at least one of the significant potholes that has caused whiplash and or damage to people's cars, I informed people about yesterday, so there could have been at least a response that, oh, we have that one on a list. And you didn't even do that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be provocative with you. I'm just talking to you structurally about factual things that I would expect in a public policy setting that the state actors that we pay for would have answers for. And that's not even necessarily the government relations team of these state actors, but the actual people who are either doing these contracts or not. I mean, there was a really awesome leading question by Delegate Taveras' staff about what the actual mechanism is that you can require compliance if the boondoggle is such and the delays are such that we just need to get it done. Like, you can't pull the contract from somebody. You can't put somebody in breach in that circumstance. So what is the real thing that is happening here that's going to ensure that this occurred different from this point?
Well, I think really what you're asking is what is different than what has been going on before. I think our contractor is focused on progressing the work forward, and that includes the University Boulevard area. To the extent that you feel that we are not hearing your concerns with respect to conditions of the roads or the sidewalks, certainly it should be going through our communications outreach team. But to the extent that you're not getting better information, then I think you're correct. It is through the political process and through our elected officials that if a change is necessary, I think that is where it would lead. I think it's important to take a moment and really think about what we're talking about on this project. I understand everybody's frustrated. The schedules are not being met, and there's a desire to get this work done as fast as possible. The truth of the matter is, this is not a paper exercise. This is not a paper project or a computer program that we can simply make it go faster. These are people. This is heavy, dangerous equipment that's out in the street. It's bitter cold today. Other days it's raining, and they are working as hard as they can under these conditions, trying to construct this project for the state. And I know that there can be some frustration with the progress of that work, but it is a human endeavor. It is these people's jobs. They're doing this work. They want to, you know, be able to make money and go home and provide to their families. And we do not want to rush them and have accidents. We don't want to rush them and have them make mistakes. It's very important that this is done right and that it lasts for the foreseeable future, 30 years of operations and maintenance. So, you know, I understand the concern.
In that, Matt.
And Jason, we do keep a list.
Something antithetical to that. I guess what I am asking you is, if we assume that that is the case, then where is the specific emphasis on maintenance of the project so that we can ensure that people are not exceedingly disappointed with both the pace and the actual building? And that is where I am very specifically asking very pointed questions of the state actors, not only yourself, but whatever state highway entity failed to come to this fairly important thing.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, and you know, I apologize because I know we're going to have some follow-up meetings, is what we believe is doing the best we can. You believe we can do better, and I think you're right. If there's a way we can do better, we should be doing better. We need to sit down and find a way to talk through this. You know, like you mentioned, the civil discourse. Sit down, find the way to address these concerns. And so, okay.
Thank you. I appreciate feeling heard.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a question from a resident, unidentified guest, but your hand is raised. Please go ahead.
Hello, yes, good evening. I hope everybody can hear me. I do want to thank Mr. Pollock, and I do want to thank Mr. Witherspoon and all the other people who have contributed tonight. I appreciate your concerns, and I appreciate the information that you're giving us. I especially appreciate the contributions from Mr. Small. He is my councilman. I live in Ward 6. I have lived in Ward 6 for over 30 years. I walk the neighborhood. Every morning I walk from Piney Branch to New Hampshire Avenue. So I am a pedestrian. I am one of those people who is at risk of being hit every day of my life. And I see the the barriers. I see the work that's being done, and I appreciate that there's actually movement happening. But like Mr. Small, I'm concerned that we're not fully engaged with our neighbors. I would ask that the people who are putting this project together, maybe it would be great to actually go to the intersection of New Hampshire Avenue and University Boulevard behind the transit center, talk to the people who are there every weekend, every morning, looking for work, looking for employment. Talk to them, ask them what they want from their state, you know, in terms of what their transit needs are. The gentleman who spoke earlier, Joel, you know, that man, God bless him, you know, he is looking for transportation. You know, he's looking for a basic need. How do you get from one place to another? I don't want my neighborhood gentrified. I have lived here for 30 years. I love my neighbors. I love my diversity. I love going to New Grand Mart every Friday to pick up things that I need. I love going to Mega Mart. I love being the crazy gringo who eats tamales. please, you know, listen to our neighborhood, listen to our community. And I just wanted to say, you know, thank you for what you're doing. I just want to keep engaged, but you know, listen to some of us, and listen to those who actually don't know how to engage too. But thank you, thank everyone tonight. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. We have a question from Webb Smedley. When will storm drain work in the 3 sections achieve 100% completion?
By the 3 sections, I'm assuming you're talking about the 3 segments of University Boulevard. I think Iago is probably still on the line. I do not know if we have this information off the top of my head. We may have to respond back in writing, but given that, I think I'll still toss it out there to see if Iago would happen to know that information.
Hello, Matthew. I'm still here. So unfortunately, we don't have an accurate date for every single area, for every single segment. We are working on that. In most of the areas, we are ahead of time with the drainage we are installing. So that is good news for all of us. I would like to thank also the community, because everybody out there is supporting us, is helping us, is working together with our crews. And we don't have a real date right now, but we are doing our best to deliver this project on time, and to deliver this project on the manner and on the timing that everybody wish.
Thank you, Iago. Webb, I apologize, but yes, let's see what we can find out by the time we publish our responses back on the website.
Gary, can I just follow up on that?
Yeah.
Yes, please do. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I you know, worked in project management for many years, and it's very disconcerting when you give make a statement like 12% of the utility work is done, and then, you know, I get the sense that there's not a master schedule on this stuff, and that it's I mean, you must have a presumed target for completion of the utility work in these 3. And to Iago's response, I mean, I did mean just specifically to the 3 sections he talked about. And presumably, when that utility work is completed, then you move on to some other main items on your, you know, on your project list of things to do. So, you know, are you thinking the utility work on those 3 sections will take the rest of the year? I mean, you must have some way of responding to these things. And Gary, I'm telling you, I have these questions for our segment as well. And I apologize for crashing this meeting, but I wanted to see how things are going on University Boulevard, which I drove for many years, or rode the bus for many years, I should say. So can Iago give a little more response on?
Well, I do appreciate that. I think what we're saying is we do have our master schedule with thousands of activities, and it is not off Iago's top of his head to understand.
Yeah.
So we can certainly dig down and see, you know, what we are planning to do. You know, but I think, as you know, and other people know with a master schedule, if you run into impacts and say you have 5 sewer crews working across the entire alignment and you hit an impact, you may reassign one of those crews to work in another area temporarily while you work through that impact. So you're still, you know, keeping to your overall schedule, but the local impact, or the schedule fragment, if you will be impacted.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we are wrapping up. We got about 9 minutes left. Other questions before we sign off? Okay, again, if your questions have not been addressed tonight, all questions will be addressed later in a question and response posting on the website. Additionally, you can send us questions for a week until February 9th at outreach@purplelinemd.com. That's outreach@purplelinemd.com. Again, you can sign up for construction notices at purplelinemd.com. And for project questions, you can send us email at outreach@purplelinemd.com, or you can call us at 443-451-3706, or for Spanish, 443-451-3705. We're manning our hotlines around the clock, so you will get a response to your questions as soon as possible. If you see a pothole, please let us know where it is. Take a picture if you can and send it in to us so that we can get out there as fast as possible. We may not be as fast as you would like, but we will try to be aggressive about getting out there and addressing that issue. Again, we thank you for joining us at this Community Advisory Team meeting. As always, we are reachable by phone and email. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you all. I appreciate your time.